Eden Memorial Chapels understands Jewish funerals can take many forms. Some are very Orthodox, while others are more conservative or of a Reformed nature. There's no one better in New York or New Jersey. Go to EdenMemorial.com.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
But last night, Kamala Harris was confronted left and right over the issue of border and also immigration. She would not give, it seemed like, a coherent answer. At least that was my take on a lot of it. And joining us now is the former Border Patrol chief, also ICE director, former one as well, Ron Vitiello. Ron, you, I'm sure, watched this interview last night with Fox News. What was your reaction as she didn't seem to want to give a single answer, didn't even really have an answer about the deaths of, Lake and Riley and Joycelyn Nungaray and Rachel Moore and a lot of these sad, very horrible cases that have made a lot of headlines across the country due to illegal migrants?
Yeah, it's more of the same, Rita, isn't it? She refuses to take responsibility for what she was in charge of as the vice president of the United States. She says she wasn't the border czar, but she was supposed to work on root causes of immigration. How is she working on root causes of migration if she doesn't know how many people were released into the United States last year, the year before, or since she's been the vice president? So failure to take accountability, no responsibility or credibility on this issue, and then just kind of waved her hands over the victims that are all over the United States and didn't connect her own actions to what happened to these poor women and kids that were abused. No account for the people who are being trafficked into the United States. No account for the rise in crime that we now know is actually real in major cities in the United States. Some of that crime caused by gangs that didn't exist in the United States before she was the vice president.
And nothing about fentanyl and nothing about the 80,000 kids who've disappeared.
That's right. We've had just last year, I looked at the data because I wanted to remember when she said she didn't know the number. I looked at the data yesterday. 73,000 people from China have come into the country just last year.
Wow.
Now, okay, let's just, even if that's 5 years or 3 years or 10 years, no account for that, no special, enforcement procedure, no alerts intelligence-wise, nothing coming out of the White House, nothing coming out of her. 297,000 people from Venezuela are here.
Wow. But Ron, when you say those numbers, my reaction, we were watching it together, the judge and I and John, when the interview happened. And my reaction was, she knows the answer. She just doesn't want to say it. Maybe I'm giving her too much credit, but she knows how bad it is. It's absolutely damning.
Yeah, correct. We know where she really is on this. Remember when she was running for the presidency, when she was running for the nomination, she said she wanted to decriminalize illegal entry into the United States and not treat these people like criminals. She didn't want immigration detention for people who come into the United States. Just imagine that. And then she talks about this bill that they put up on day one. Well, I spent a little bit of time on that. The fact sheet for that bill is still on the whitehouse.gov website. The bill that they put up that she says would have fixed the problem if Donald Trump didn't get in the way or the Republicans didn't get in the way. She blames everybody but herself. But the bill that they put up would not have given anybody that has come into the United States illegally any relief since she's been the vice president. Think about that. She said, oh, no, we did this on the first day of our administration. We put this bill forward. That bill does not account for the it's 10 million at least. It's probably more. It's probably closer to 20 million. But none of those people would qualify under the legislation that they supposedly dropped on day one. And it was so good that Chuck Schumer didn't put it on the floor. And it was even better because Nancy Pelosi didn't put it on the floor. So it's complete obfuscation of what her responsibilities are. The day one plan that gives amnesty to every single person in the United States that's been here for the last 3 years. And, this is the best part. It allows for the Secretary of Homeland Security, if this bill passed, it would allow the Secretary of Homeland Security to reopen the deportation cases that occurred while Donald Trump was president.
Wow.
So there is no serious effort by this woman, by anybody that's associated with her in the Democratic Party, to fix the problem on the border because they've not done anything that looks relevantly like it could work because none of the stuff that they talk about is factual or effective.
I'm just amazed, Ron, that she cited that piece of proposed legislation as explanation of how they were acting with respect to illegals crossing the border. And it was very easy to knock down and say, well, it was about amnesty.
Yeah, citizenship.
It was
like
about citizenship,
right.
and Bear said that. She opened herself up for that. It just was dumb, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, first, because she knew he was smart enough to call her, like, if she blamed Trump on the bipartisan Senate bill, which Brett pointed out, 8 Democrats voted against, right? She knew he was going to call her if she started there. So she started on the day one plan, which was always eyewash, which was always like a farce. There was no way that bill was ever going to pass because they had control of both the House and the Senate when they dropped that bill.
Yeah, that is incredible. Everybody, we're talking to the former border chief and also chief of immigration and customs enforcement, Ron Vitiello. Judge Weinberg.
Ron, what she seemed to conveniently forget is it was on day one they rescinded all the Trump executive orders that opened the border. That's what happened on day one.
Exactly right, Judge. The root cause of our current migration crisis is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because, as you point out, he wanted to restrict and rescind removals and deportations from the United States. They ended the migrant protection protocols, which was a historic agreement with Mexico, which was leading to the lowest illegal crossing activity on our southwest border in 50 years. That's what they inherited on day one. They tore it all down within the first days of the administration, and we've lived through the crisis ever since. And she's blaming everyone but herself for the conditions that it's in now.
You know, the other day we had on one of the guys, he's with the head of the Border Patrol Union, and we asked him, how is the situation at the border now? And he's like, it's much worse than even the images that we see. How dangerous do you think the policies of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have been to our country? And do you believe, Ron Vitiello, as someone who's been there on the front lines, we're going to feel this for generations to come?
Yes, we absolutely are. Like in the interview, they talked about Rachel Morin and Jocelyn Nongaray, the women that have been, Laken Riley, that have been killed by people who should not have been here and only have gotten here in a very short amount of time. We know about the gang activity from this dangerous, vicious Venezuelan gang. We know about the 70,000+ Chinese that are here. We know that included in this illicit flow, Iranians, Russians, people who live to hate Americans. And then these cartels have been given so much resources. They've been emboldened and enriched by this policy of the Biden-Harris administration. Mexico and people who live on the border, all of us in the United States, are going to live with the after effects of this giant mass migration. You know, nearly 20 million people are in the country who we did not invite and we know very little about. And so the Russians, the Iranians, North Korea, you name it, they're going to take advantage of this. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, really scary stuff. And the fact that they won't answer anything or hold any accountability is, it's shocking. It's really shocking. Ron Vitiello, thank you very much. And thanks for your great service, of course, always. Thank you.
Thank you.